So what I was going to do is just kind of start from the beginning, give you a little history of myself, how I became to be a member with a motorcycle club, and also kind of what I saw and heard and so forth of the events that took place on May 17th at Twin Peaks. When I first started looking into becoming a member with the Scimitars Motorcycle Club, one of the first things that I did was what so many people do these days is I pulled up on the internet and searched the name. I was looking for any kind of news one way or another that would represent them or give me any kind of insight into their history. I had absolutely no luck finding anything. The only thing I found was pictures on the internet that were associated with an actual scimitar, which is some form of a Russian military sword of some kind. Not really sure exactly. But absolutely nothing to do with the motorcycle club that I became a member of. What I was drawn to by this club was the fact that every person that I had talked to was a hardworking individual, supported their families, were actively involved in charity events, and in giving back to the community. The thing that drew to me the most was, being able to be a part of something like that, being able to ride with these guys. I mean, I enjoy riding motorcycles, and that's what it was all about to me. Was being able to get out there on two wheels, hit the road, and just kind of enjoy the friendships and the brotherhood, so to speak, of the people that I was with. So when it comes down to my reasonings behind becoming a member of this was for that. I looked for that friendship, the getting together with people that enjoy the same things that I do, as well as the opportunity to get involved in the community. There's been events where we have brought in families in need at Christmas time. We put on large dinner for them. They came in, we had bought presents. There was, we'd have a Santa Claus come riding in on a motorcycle and sit in a big Santa chair, and they were given, individualized homemade stockings with their names on them. I mean, the whole event was to give these kids something that they didn't have the opportunity to have without our help. And those are the kind of things that I really look forward to and things I really enjoyed. On the day of May 17th at Twin Peaks, I had arrived at Twin Peaks, parked in the parking lot on the side, right outside the patio area. Made my way in through the restaurant and was seated on the patio. I had ordered a water. I was sitting with a couple of other guys that I had ridden up there with at the same table, and we were still sitting there waiting to order some food. We heard a large group of bikes pulling in at one time. This wasn't uncommon. It was there had been bikes rolling into the parking lot the entire time we were there. The large group pulled into the parking lot. They pulled up directly in front of the bikes where we had parked, and there was some sort of a commotion that kind of came about. At that time is when I saw kind of everybody kind of grouped together out in the parking lot. There was you could hear a little bit of a verbal argument, and a very short period of time after that, which seemed like maybe a minute or two, was when I heard the first gunshot. I did not see the gun. I did not see who held the gun or who fired the shot. I just heard it. And I'm sure as any other, common person, when you're out in a public place and all of a sudden you hear a gunshot, you kind of freak out a little bit. I kind of temporarily froze a little bit just in the sheer shock and trying to kind of wrap my head around, what it was. Almost immediately it was followed by another gunshot, at which time I was trying to make my way through the patio to a side door there that went into the restaurant. Made my way through that door. Almost immediately inside that door is a little hallway on the right. Tucked around behind that hallway and waited there in that area for, it seemed like forever. Constantly hearing gunfire, kind of, fearful for, what could happen next. What is something going to come around that corner. Short of the period of time after that was when the law enforcement made their way through the front door. They ordered everybody to the ground. Everybody in the restaurant then kind of just laid out, put their hands out in front of them, and laid there until they asked for everybody to get up and make their way out the front door. They marched us out the front door, around the side of the building, walked us kind of right through the middle of the area where everything had occurred. I walked by several bodies laid on the ground, and then made my way back to the back of the restaurant, where at that time they lined us up and searched us. After they had searched us, they had us sit down in the parking lot. We stayed there in that parking lot for several hours. At that time, we were told on a number of occasions that they were going to transport us to, as they said, a secure facility, take our statements, and then we would be released. We could have somebody come and pick us up. So at that time, I was understanding the fact that I was going to be there for a while, but that I should have been, I should be able to make a call and get somebody to pick me up that night, and after I had made my statement, and be able to go home to my family. It wasn't until the next day, after they had kept us in our little zip tie handcuffs the entire time we were at the convention center, overnight. Many people were having to find a way to sleep with their hands tied behind their backs. We had to basically just try to come up with any way we could to get comfortable in such an uncomfortable position. They then, the next day, after they had gone through and pulled every person out individually and questioned us and took our statements, put us back in the room again, and then the next day is when they gathered us all into another bus and sent us then over to the Highway 6 jail. Went through a very long booking process there, but with the 177 people that they're trying to process through there, it wasn't until probably around 2 a.m. on Tuesday morning that we were finally put into an area where we had a bed and somewhere to sleep.